Hey everyone, Steve Harris here with MuseThemes.com. Let's take a look at a brand new widget called the Dynamic Slide Widget. So what this does is it takes over the existing slideshow widget that Muse comes with by default, and it applies these animation and pan and scale and zoom settings to it so that you can create these unique effects within your slideshow. So all this is on this demo here is we have a full screen slideshow built from the default widget. We've added captions to it, things that say typography, and of course here 29 headlines, custom scaling. And all we've done is taken over those and applied the animation settings to it. So it's a great widget, it's really powerful, and it allows you to use the stock slideshow for your design purposes. So you don't have to design on the panel, which is really awesome. So let's go ahead and jump into Muse and I'll show you how to set this up on the canvas. So if I jump into Muse here and go to the library panel, let's of course drag the dynamic slide widget out onto the canvas. And when we do that, you'll see the really interesting thing about this widget is it comes pre-set up. So rather than you having to build something from scratch, we thought it would be easier for you to take something pre-existing that we've built and simply edit it yourself. But I'll show you how it works both ways. So as you can see, we have a slideshow here. If we click on it, we have the default Muse slideshow panel. Of course, this is just a standard slideshow. And then we have these 5 little widgets to the left side. Now the top one that has a power button, this is just the enabler, so it doesn't really have any options to it. The only thing you can turn on and off here is the ability to include animations on the captions. We want to do that for this one, so of course that's checked. So below the enabler widget, we have these 4 different individual widgets, and these are the actual widgets that tie into the slide within the slideshow and give you animation and control settings for it. So if I run through these settings here real quick, you can see that this says slide number. We're going to select which number in the slideshow we want to target, the graphic style of that slide, and the caption style of that slide. So these are kind of the generic containing graphic style. So if I click on the slideshow, you can see that for this slide, with it selected, we have slide 1 as the graphic style, and the container here has a style of caption 1. So that's how this widget works, as it ties into these styles. Now below that we have all of the animation settings for the widget. So we have scale 1 and scale n. So scale 1 of course would be, it's basically scaling 1 to 1, and scale n would be 2 to 1, so it would be increasing here. We have the animation duration, so this is set to 20. This is of course timing control. We have the animation direction. We can set things like normal, reverse, alternate. So these are just different variations on the animation. We can set the origin. So the origin is where the animation is going to start. So if we're doing kind of a zoom and a pan effect. Then we have the ability to control how many times we want to repeat that animation. Right now we can enter a number, or we could set infinite. Infinite just means it goes forever. Below that we have a main text and a secondary text options, and we have kind of the same controls. We have the duration and a delay on that. We have the ability to set a ton of different animation styles. So as you can see here, we have a huge list of different animation styles for it. And then we have the origin controls again, and it's the same below for secondary text. So the way that the main text and the secondary text works is within this main caption container, which of course has the graphic style of caption 1, we have sub-containers, or rather sub-levels of character styles. So if I click on this and I highlight this top block of text, it has a character style of main_text, just like that. The block below has one of secondary text. Now the important thing is, if you're going to set this widget up from scratch, you need to use these style names exactly as they're created here. These are hard-coded into the widget, and you cannot use your own custom names. Now that's very different from the graphic styles. You can see if I click on this slide again, the graphic style has a name of slide 1, but within the slide 1 animation settings, we have the ability to enter that in. So we could change this to anything we want, but we don't have the ability to change these text styles. So just make sure you're using those. So if you want to use this widget now and you want to just quickly set it up and style it, I'd recommend you just work with our default kind of pre-set up one here. So you can simply change out images by, I recommend using the layers panel, and let's open up this layer, and there's a slideshow within. Let's open that up, and you can actually click through the individual images in the slideshow by just selecting this blue box beside them. So if we want to change the image on here, which is the first slide, we can make sure that's selected. We could right click on it and click replace image. And we could select something else. Let's select this. It's just a black and white image and click open. Okay, so now we've got a black and white image in here. We could, of course, change some of the fill settings. One thing to point out too on this widget is right now it's set to be full screen, but we don't need to have this as a full screen slideshow. We can turn off full screen and we can kind of adjust the slideshow height so it's a little bit more like a hero. And also let's make sure too that with the slide selected, we've selected the 100% width option in Muse so that it acts like a hero. So now rather than it taking over your full screen, if I preview this in the browser, you can use it as just kind of an animated header within your site, which is awesome. Okay, so let's go back, and now to edit the text, it's as easy as simply clicking in, and of course you can change this to say anything you want. There you go. So we've edited the first slide of this widget. So now if you wanted to set this up completely from the start, what you'd need to do is drag out a generic slideshow onto the page. So let me just create a brand new site and I'll jump in here. Let's go to our widgets library, our standard widgets library. Let's go to a slideshow and we'll just drag the basic one out onto the page just like that. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump back to the first one and I'm going to copy 2 of these widgets over. Okay. Just like that. Perfect. So now we've got the enabler widget working on it, and we've got one individual slide animator. So what we need to do on this slideshow is we need to click on the first slide. We need to give it a graphic style name of slide 1 in this case, just like that. And if we've got a caption for it, let's select the caption. Let's give that caption a style of caption 1, just like that. And now our slide settings match up here. Slide 1, caption 1, perfect. Now what we do if we wanted to animate the actual text within this in a couple different styles is we'd highlight this text, we'd create a character style for it, and we need to make sure, remember, to name this exactly as it appears in our previous demo. So I've got main_text, like that. Let's make sure that matches up exactly. And it does. You can see here this is the main text style. Okay, so now that we've got that set up, we've actually completed animating the first slide in our slideshow. So let's give this a preview in the browser and see how it looks. There, so you can see that we've got the image behind is panning and scaling, and the text above did animate in on that first round. Let me go back to it. You can see that's coming in from the top like that. So it looks a little bit strange like this without, of course, styling the text and removing the white behind the captions area. And then, of course, you'd go through here and you probably want to change some of these scaling settings. So let's maybe have it scale a little bit bigger. Let's have it go a little bit faster. We'll change the direction from, say, top right. Okay, and in the main text that we have here, we had it fading in down. Let's have it, say, zoom in, and we'll have it zoom in from the bottom left. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to do actually here is I'm going to remove the white fill behind that caption. That doesn't look very good. Okay, let's preview that and see how it looks. So see how fast it is, see how much more drastic the scaling is. And you did see, let me back it up, that this does zoom in, of course. So it's a really interesting widget. So notice the text isn't animating on the second and third slides. Well, that's because you need to go back to your widget controller here and we need to duplicate this. And what we would do then is we would set up a slide 2 and a caption 2, and we would go ahead and animate it the exact same way. So you can work through your slideshow and all of your slides by duplicating these widgets, or you know what, to make it easy, just use our widget. Just use our basic setup here to start, and you can go ahead and fill in your text, fill in your images, and you're good to go. That's what I'd recommend. Now on our demo here, of course, for the one we posted on Facebook, let me just jump back there. This is the Game of Thrones inspired demo here, and we have kind of these lighting effects, and we've got a whole bunch of different stuff going on. All that we did here is we layered several slideshows. We used PNGs or transparent images, and we just kept building these unique animated slideshows layered upon layer. My computer's slowing down a little bit here because I'm recording a video at the same time, so let me close this page. But you can see how this widget works and how it takes over the default slideshow functionality in this really clever way. If you have any questions or concerns working with this, please don't hesitate to give us a shout at support@musethemes.com. Thanks again for watching, and cheers.